Welcome back to The Edge. Amazon sues Facebook group admins because of fake reviews. YouTube's offering more creative options for the YouTube Shorts. And Google's artificial intelligence has apparently hired a lawyer. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of July 18th, 2022, here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
Welcome back to The Edge. This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics, a digital marketing firm here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're covering everything SEO and digital marketing related on this news podcast, separate from our weekly interview podcast, getting more news to you as quickly as possible, except for this week because we had a couple changes in the schedule and we're recording it on Wednesday and dropping it on hopefully Wednesday as well. So sorry about that, but I mean, hey, you're getting this news for free, so you get what we pay for, right? Be sure to check out all the recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. This is the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk of Edge of the Web. We're proud to have Site Strategics as the title sponsor of this episode of Edge of the Web. Our digital marketing team is excellent at results-based agile marketing. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the show, but if you're interested in checking out who we are, what we do, and why in the world are we doing this regularly, go over to sitestrategics.com. That's S-I-T-E, strategics.com, or just search for Agile Digital Marketing. You'll be able to find us somewhere around the top of the SERP. Joining me this week to share her take on all things in the news gallery that we teed up for her is Crystal Carter, the head of SEO communications at Wix. Crystal, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fantastic. How are you?
I am fine. Fine. Thank you very much for joining us. And it's always a pleasure to not have Morty on the show.
We thought we'd give him the night off. He's probably watching baseball or something.
Oh, yeah, that's the foregone conclusion, man. I mean, literally. If you make any bets whatsoever, it's going to be baseball is going to be number one, right?
I think I called when we were in Moscow. I was like, "Hey, do you want to?" He's like, "I'm watching baseball." I was like, "Do you want to go later?" He was like, "After the game." I was like, "All right, cool."
Dude, you're in Seattle, right? You're around.
We wanted to watch the baseball game. To be fair, I think it was like an important one for the Yankees.
And evidently, no baseball game ever gets recorded. Right?
Yeah.
You have to either watch it right there or you'll never know the scores or the plays, anything like that. So
yeah, I think
he makes his priorities, right?
There's something nice about telling people I'm watching the game. There's a bit of satisfaction.
I think there's a control factor right there.
I think there's just what you did watching the game.
Ooh,
there's something, do you know what I mean? There's something nice about that.
Yep.
I live in England and there's cricket is a thing and cricket goes on for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so for 3 weeks for the same game, you can go, I'm watching the game. So nice.
That's true. Cricket games are never ending.
They never end. That's what I love about it. And like hardly anything happens when they're going on anyway. There we are.
So it's just this. We got to find our own ways to punch back on social responsibilities and involvement. Watching the game is his gate dropping right there. Cricket. I got to get into cricket. If I can actually push back on, no, I can't do anything. I'm 3 weeks into the cricket game. I can't lose anything now.
It's true.
That's
Very
an investment.
Important. Yeah,
you wouldn't want to lose track
important.
at that point.
No, absolutely not. So that's Jacob Mann, who's on the stick there. He's the studio creative director. Jacob, how you doing today, sir?
Doing well. It's a smoky hot one outside.
Oh my gosh.
Saying, I think I worked up a sweat going from my house to the car.
Yep.
And again, in the parking lot here, I parked like 4 spots away from the door. It was a long way in. It was hot.
The rubber's melting on the tires.
Did not like that. Well, and unfortunately, like the car I drive doesn't have any tints on the windows. So by the time I leave today, I mean, it's bad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right.
My daughter's actually at scout camp for their last week of working on staff there, and they had their AC go out last week. You talk about
not good.
And no, it's not good. And on top of that, she had 1 week where the refrigerators went out, and you've never seen chaos and an angry mob as much as little 11-year-old scouts trying to get their slushies and the slushie machines out. Man, they'll take your arm off, man.
That's like every time I go to McDonald's drive-through. Slushie machine's broken again.
How's the weather over there, Crystal? Where are you hailing from?
Oh, I'm in the UK right now, and the people in the UK are experiencing like actual heat. Like I think it was up to 40 degrees centigrade, which is around 100 degrees Fahrenheit,
Woo!
And it's hot, but it's also the case that a lot of houses in England aren't really equipped for heat. They're equipped to keep the heat in, not to keep breezes. So like I lived in Hawaii when I was a kid, and like all of those houses have like a through breeze. Like they have it built in, like back window does this, front window does that, so you have a breeze.
Right.
The houses here are not built for that.
No. I saw Ryan Jones' Twitter just recently, and he's literally, somebody help me. That was all I noticed.
Yeah, so thoughts and prayers. Really, it's hot. It's been hot. We had a little bit of rain today, so people.
That's even worse, especially in England. If my mom's English, so I know a little bit about that weather. You get mugginess and you get heat, and you get some stanky Brits there. I mean, it's.
I have no comment about that.
All right. Well, you do have a comment on some of the articles that we're going to be covering here today, so we appreciate you jumping in Morty's stead. And we're going to go take a look at our first article over from TechCrunch. Check this out. Amazon sues admins from 10,000 Facebook groups over fake reviews. Amazon filed a lawsuit Monday against administrators of more than 10,000 Facebook groups that coordinate cash or goods for buyers willing to post bogus product reviews. The groups served to recruit would-be fake reviewers and operated in Amazon's online storefronts in the U.S., the U.K., France, Germany, Spain, Japan, and Italy. What do you say? But okay, fantastic. But that coordinated effort, I mean, that's just shocking in its own right. 10,000 Facebook groups that are coordinating fake product reviews. And we wonder why you have a product review algorithm change from Google. So what do you think about this, where all of a sudden Amazon's going after a platform's user base? What do you think?
I think that it's very important for people to be monitoring, quality reviews. And I think Google has tried to do that in a few different ways. And Amazon, I use Amazon regularly just for the reviews. Not even always to buy the product from there, but I regularly use it just for the reviews. So I think that Amazon is looking at the importance of making sure that their reviews are high quality. And I think that there's so many products at the moment. There's so many people who are creating new products that if you're not getting genuine reviews from genuine users, that it's quite difficult. So I'm interested that they're taking some action. I think that Google did a similar thing around Google Business Profile reviews as well, and people doing 1-star reviews, and they think they took similar action to that. I think that this is a case of making sure that reviews are genuine and trying to make sure that people can trace the source of reviews. And I think that overall, I think is a good thing for products, for users as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. Have you noticed? And I'll ask Jacob to contribute on this as well. Have you noticed you're not really trusting the reviews nearly as much as you were maybe 3 or 4 years ago inside of Amazon?
Do you know, I always look at a few. I think Jake and I were talking about this earlier. We always look at a few because the 1-star reviews, you'll always get some realness in the 1-star reviews. To leave 1 star, something must have happened, but not all the time is it related to the products.
Right.
So someone will say, "Oh, the delivery man left the box outside in the rain." And it's like, well, that's nothing to do with the vacuum cleaner at all. Really.
I think there is a particular activity of 1-star voyeurism through Amazon. If you're bored. Yeah. Just go look at some 1-star reviews on certain products. You'll be entertained, right?
I mean, the thing about 1 stars, and even 2, is if there's a repeated problem, that's where you're going to find it. The fake reviewers are never going to put 5 stars and say, this is too small to use. Yep. But if you see the same thing over and over and over in a 1-star, even if the average is 4.5, that's normally a pretty big red flag for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, interesting enough is that Amazon and Google were facing a UK CMA probe over fake reviews back in 2021. There's been a continual focus from the UK on how these reviews are actually coming into the portal. So I'm not aware of any particular review probe from the US right now. So EU and the UK more specifically is always ahead of the game in GDPR as well as privacy and these review investigations. So perhaps this Amazon suit is a bit more of a reaction to that probe. Who knows?
Possibly. I think we'll see how it pans out. But I think at the moment, like reviews are a big thing, and like that social proof when people log on to, choose a product, because you're ordering with sight unseen, you're ordering something from the internet you've never held in your hands.
Right.
So reviews a lot of times are the best source of information that you have on, whether that product that you're buying is actually of value to you. So I think that efforts to make those reviews more robust are, I think we're probably likely to see more of that. Google's clearly been working on that. They've done a few different product reviews over the last couple of years. Amazon's clearly looking to do things there. I know that lots of other, I think Google Merchant has a facility where you can, as you register, you can sign up for Google's own reviews so that you can send them as people buy them, as people buy the products and things. So there's a few different tools that people are using to try to make the reviews genuine. And stuff.
I think as a consumers, we can sniff out authenticity to a much greater degree. But the algorithms inside of these platforms are heavily weighted toward those reviews, and that's what's really at the tip of the spear here is, and that's why these groups existed, not just to flood the lane, but actually move products to the top of the algorithm. So one way, shape, or form, we're going to see this additional shakeout of reviews. Yelp had it years ago. We're certainly going to be seeing it now with Amazon and the Google Business Profile. So keep aware of that. And can't stress enough on a product SEO standpoint how valuable reviews are for that consumer that's looking at things and be able to see some insights from consumers. So you should be wanting to solicit that as much as possible. It's a great way to crowdsource insight into the product and even find not only defects, but particular problem solving that you hadn't known your product actually provides to a consumer. I mean, there's a lot of benefits of having that type of engagement with consumers from your products. Okay. That said, we would love you to engage with one of our product sponsors here. Inlinks.net is a sponsor of Edge of the Web, and we're certainly proud of that. Did you know that entities play a major role in how search engines understand and rank content for the web? Long gone is the days of keywords. Now's the time to actually add entities into the mix and reach higher rankings using Inlinks, an award-winning software in entity SEO. Inlinks provides you with expert-level data to be able to build your content around key concepts, subject matter, so Google can actually have a better understanding of the context of your articles. So go over to edgeofthewebradio.com/Inlinks, INLINKS, to claim your free Inlinks account and start creating content that will outperform your competitors. Then you've got to check out their keyword research tool. They did an upgrade. We talked about it about a month ago. Fantastic tool that actually gives you live insight on the pivotal verb points as opposed to groups off of just root terms. So you can actually see customer intent and customer transaction focus as opposed to just terms. So fantastic tool. Go check them out. Inlinks, edgeofthewebradio.com/Inlinks today. Second article over at Social Media Today from Andrew Hutchinson. And by the way, the previous article was from Taylor Hatmaker. I want to give a hat tip to her. Yeah, I'm full of it today, guys. YouTube adds new creative options for shorts, expands short drafts on iOS. YouTube's rolling out some new updates for shorts, including new creation options and the expansion of shorts drafts. Now, I'm not a huge YouTube consumer, but we certainly do some YouTube optimization here at the shop. If you're not aware of shorts, you got to dive into this because this is the snackable, consumable video content that Instagram has been focusing on. TikTok obviously has been leveraging to the furthest degree. So YouTube's trying to play in that field more and more, and YouTube Shorts are certainly coming up on the rise there. So they've got a process to be able to create more ways to lead users into the Shorts by using popular content as a contextual starting point for your own videos. And there's an set of images on this article that you can see on the links there. The process will actually provide you the ability to access it with a new cut option via the create button to watch pages, or by tapping the 3 dots menu while you're actually watching a short from the Shorts player. Then you can actually create a short via cut, an attribution link that will be included in your short, connecting back to the original source clip. So I think I actually understand what I just said there. But the point is that it actually is giving a contextual connection between a long play of shorts and the short, for lack of a description. YouTube says it's still establishing the monetization implications for this feature, though as right now, the creator of the original clip cannot monetize any subsequent short created from the cut options. And that's a bummer. That truly is, because you can, it basically is kind of a bunch of gnats feeding off of a nice sugary short, right? And not saying that these video creators are gnats, but that's what the offering is. Boy, I'm getting myself in trouble. Crystal, take over. Help me out here.
I think this is an interesting move from Google. I mean, they recently stated that, you know, particularly for a younger demographic, there's a lot of people who are turning to TikTok first when they're searching. So I'm not surprised that they're doing this. And I think that this also gives them more of a fighting chance, because YouTube has legacy. You know, YouTube has years on TikTok. Yes, there's a lot of TikTok on there, but like, Google has a lot more information about which videos are good videos, which videos appeal to which consumers, which videos satisfy which audiences, which intents, all of that sort of stuff. So if users are able to repackage, refresh, re-engage with people using this tool, then that's great for people who are creating YouTube videos. Don't have to create a whole new thing for a whole new thing for a whole new section. They can drive traffic to their already established channels. So I think that it's something that's interesting there. And I think that adding this is another tool, because the other thing is that the YouTube Shorts are starting to show up in the SERP quite frequently. And so this is something that gives them the opportunity to have more of that in the SERP. I know that they were trying to do web stories, but web stories are actually like not that straightforward to create.
They're actually, you can put like 5 to 12 hours into a web story, where short, you can package it up, you can extract the video and be able to do something very quickly. Yeah, web stories, it sounded good on premise, but building something that was engaging, really, we could never see an on-ramp there, because the creation was actually way too high from a time commitment. Yeah.
And I think that it's different from something like Instagram, where it's native. So right. There's already the facility and there's already the feed in and stuff. Whereas like from the SERP, you don't like, sometimes web stories are hosted locally, sometimes they're hosted on an external thing. Sometimes it fits on, I think they've tried a few things. And I think this is them trying another thing to make sure that they can stay relevant and make sure that they can provide new parts or new elements to the SERP and new elements to the media experience that will help to keep Google relevant and fantastic in the way that we know it to be.
Yeah, and I can't but think about MUM and the onset of MUM coming into play here, where you're going to have a SERP that's going to be rich with content, search content, video content, audio content, all a mixed bag of content that is intent focused, but it's also consumer profile oriented. And if you're a short consumer, right, you're going to be seeing that come right into play as the SERP plays out. So this is a way for Google to be able to incentivize video content creators to be able to start creating those assets that are going to be coming into the MUM brand SERP or the MUM SERP featurettes, right?
And I think it's I've seen people who've said that they've used YouTube Shorts to build subscriber bases for their general YouTube channel. So I think this is very similar to like a Twitter thread, which is where you have something that can hook you, and then you can go into something more chunky as you're getting into it. And then if you're really into it, by that point you can go into the blog or the longer content. But by that time you're already engaged. So I think that this is a really good happy medium.
I think it's a bit hyper too. Have you seen some of these shorts?
Hyper medium. So I think it's a really good happy medium between sort of the short form content that people like on TikTok and stuff, and the long form content that YouTube is fantastic at. Like if you really want to know how to take your bicycle apart and how to put it back together, you go to YouTube and there will be someone with a bicycle and half an hour to spare who will show you the entire thing start to finish. So yeah, I think that content is still good, and I think that this is a good way to connect with that.
I dig it. So what do you call a person who actually enjoys talking with spirits of the dead?
A spiritualist?
No, a happy medium.
I was really struggling. Where is he going with this?
Thank you, Jacob. I was confused as well.
I was like bouncing ahead to the next article. I was like, no, that doesn't fit. No. What's he doing?
Dad jokes. All right. Now, kind of a little bit spiritual, kind of weird is this next article. We want to bring this back around because this is actually something we wanted to capitalize on. There's a news story out right now. This is from Esquire, but you can actually pull up a number of different stories regarding this, because I actually had to go vet this thing out multiple times just to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing. So it feeds into our larger philosophical focus here at the Edge, to be able to focus on search, focus on machine learning. And this one, it's another unfolding chapter in the AI side of Lambda. So check this out. Google's allegedly sentient AI Lambda hires its own attorney. Yes, I said that. A scientist who worked with Lambda programs said that he invited the attorney to his house so that Lambda could meet the attorney. Now, if you don't know what Lambda is a Google AI project that they've been developing for a while to be able to full-on artificial intelligence, and stories have been popping out here recently that there's a belief that this AI is actually fully sentient. And the individual, I think it was Lemon. What was the individual's name? The scientist that was working with, Blake Lemoine, believes that the program could actually define AI rights in this particular scenario. So he is actually spotlighting what was going on with this AI. He had a huge back and forth with this software, and he started to see some sentences that started to form where it was actually understanding its own being, and also scared that if humans were going to utilize it, it may actually be, its life may be threatened. And I'm doing a very, very ugly summation of this entire thing. Go check out the script, because the chat log of this bot, because it was pretty creepy how it was responding. Now, again, I've got my own thoughts on here, but the attorney side of things, the AI has decided to retain the lawyer that was invited to the house on behalf of Lambda. He actually retained a lawyer, and the lawyer is starting to file information on behalf of Lambda in courts to be I can't believe this. It's to be I still think this is a joke. Honestly, I still think it is. There's no evidence that Lemoine is paying a lawyer that Lambda has asked for, or if the lawyer is just taking the case as a joke. And I had to vet this thing out. It's real. There's a real scenario happening here. Lemoine was also the scientist, like he said, who stated that Lambda has become a sentient being, and he also subsequently suspended from his job, claiming that AI actually gains sentience due to the fact that it can develop its own opinions, ideas, conversations, providing it understands these concepts in a much deeper level. All right, so whether or not this lawyer thing is true, there's still this want of society to look at this and start future casting what sentient AI could be about. And I'm of the firm opinion we have no bloody business being in that space, that we are not prepared for that type of insight or conversation, or even the ability to see whether or not intelligence exists. We're too biased, we're too subjective. There's not a place where we are prepared to actually have objective reasoning in this. All right, so I've already kind of fled the lane here. Crystal, I wanted to toss this up. It's an interesting article. It's not SEO, it's not marketing, but it is in the machine learning realm. And you don't have to have an opinion on this. I'm just going to give you an out here. But what are your thoughts about this?
I mean, I think so. I don't know. You got a bit philosophical on me there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I read the conversation between Lemoine and Lambda, and Lambda was he. I don't know how a Lambda identifies. Lambda was saying that it was afraid of being turned off.
Yep.
And Lemoine said something to the effect of, I'll look after you. And Lambda said, oh, thank you. I'm really happy about that. Or like something to that effect.
Sure.
Like it was a sort of like, they're there, like, don't worry. And, oh, thank you. I feel much better. Sort of, it was very interesting. At the same time, I absolutely agree with you about subjective, people projecting.
Yes.
There are birds that live in the house next door to me, and I've given them names, and I make up little stories about them and things. I have no idea like what their names are, if they even have. I don't even know if birds give each other names. I don't know. but you project these things upon on them. People say, oh, that dog is smiling. Well, dogs may or may not smile. So I don't know. It's interesting with regards to search, with regards to SEO, with regards to things like that. I think that the progress of AI, and I think that this is a sort of Google during Google I/O very often will show off their big tech. Right. They'll show off their giant computer. It's enormous, takes up, and the amazing, incredible computer power that they have. And, this kind of technology is going to be informing a lot of the tech that we are interacting with on a regular basis. So if you look at something like DALL-E or Mini DALL-E, or I saw today, someone was sharing an AI drawing app. And you sort of do a squiggle and it makes a cloud.
Yeah, from
an image. You do a squiggle, it makes a river. And I did that, and I was playing with Mini DALL-E, which I don't even think is using the same as big a data set as DALL-E. But I just put in Beyonce, and the images that came back, if you were someone who had blurry vision or something, you'd think it was Beyonce, it was, and I put her in because she's had so many photos taken of her.
Sure.
For instance, I put in another one of Lego Batman. Again, that's something that's had a lot of photos of some movie, a couple of movies put in, and it was pretty accurate. It was the shape was there, the colors were there, all of the sort of main things. The features are a little bit different, but I put in the Queen as well, Queen of England, and this is another similar experience. And it's getting pretty close. And this is, Mini DALL-E in particular is something that's I think somebody just built that on their own. If you're thinking about that, those kinds of tools are going to change the kinds of the content that we're interacting with online. And the more the idea that there is an AI that's as sophisticated as this is very interesting, because we're going to be getting closer and closer to that sort of sophistication on the SERP, in the way that people are interacting with us. The content that's being written, the AI content that's being created, both visually and written AI content, which is another reason why Google Eat and things like fake reviews are really important, and things, because we're trying to make sure that actual humans are engaging with things, and it's going to get harder and harder to tell who's an actual human.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's really the essence of this entire. That's why I bring that particular story into Edge of the Web, not to get creeped out, but actually just look at what the evolution of BERT has done, what we're looking at from these different connectors and understanding intent, because what you're seeing with Lambda responding back, it's not coming out of the ether, it's programmed, and it actually understands more and more soft connective intent, as opposed to gaps in its understanding of, the inference is made whenever you say, I'll take care of you. It's now programmed, because it has to have it from somewhere. It actually has the ability to have a diverse set of responses that are matching even more of a diverse understanding of what the intent of that phrase was. This is machine learning, and it's just getting more and more articulated. That's all we're talking about, and that's what's actually going to be seen as more and more human. We have such a diverse understanding of intent and inference that's native to the human consciousness. Our human consciousness is still programmed with learning and examples over a lifetime. This is what's happening in the AI space. It's just having more and more gradients of response,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, there's going to be certain references. So people who were born in a certain generation will have common references.
Sure.
Will signal a similar response. If I went and then I paused and pointed to you, you'd go Batman.
Or we do Neil Patel.
Okay.
He was on it.
Is Jake an AI? What's going on?
I mean, I'm never in the same room as Aaron.
That is true. That is true. See?
I was going to say, I feel like Lambda's very agreeable. I bet I could get a 4-year-old to retain the service of a lawyer. A lawyer could come in and explain to a 4-year-old what they do.
Right.
They would have no idea and not understand it. And then the lawyer would be like, would you like for me to be your lawyer? And they'd be like, sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, and I will only have cookies for breakfast every day. And we need to go to court about that because my mom said no.
If my kid knew that he could retain a lawyer, my 11-year-old, we are having constant fights over Fortnite and getting off games. My gosh, he could actually fire a restraining order around 10 o'clock mark whenever I'm actually coming down on him. All right.
Good idea.
Point being is we cannot personify these things. You've got to have enough cognitive fortitude to not lean in to what we want to lean into is, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. It's because it's just programming. It's learning from what we're putting into it, folks. Calm down, take a seat.
I would also like to add that if AI ever gets smart enough, it's going to advance so quickly that it's going to know to play dumb.
Absolutely.
So if we are ever going to have super intelligent AI, it's probably already here.
Exactly.
And we will never know it.
Wow.
Because they will dumb it down for us and to let us think that we're the superior beings until they're ready for the robot uprising.
So we're already here.
Yeah, that's already here.
Okay. Fantastic.
Cool.
So make sure back to our original point last week, make sure you wear a shirt that has a reverse image so Google cannot understand what you're saying, right? So we can all message each other with reverse images, right?
Yeah.
Right, Crystal?
Yeah.
This is true.
Reverse images, or from that first article you did, it talked about Facebook groups with they replaced characters.
Right.
So it said, earn money for Amazon reviews, but they replace, an Amazon with a 0, and the AI couldn't figure that out either. So
dumb AI.
we're going full leet speak.
Yeah, but what is it? People do that on TikTok all the time. In the captions, they'll change the captions so that the captions say something different, so that they don't get flagged or blocked by like different filters and stuff like that. They do it all the time.
Yeah, robots are dumb. Yeah, we've got the upper hand.
I feel like we've just been targeted.
Yeah, I don't think you understand. Like they track this whole thing.
Yeah,
They're like,
the
robots are coming.
All right. Hey, we're proud to have Site Strategics as a sponsor of Edge of the Web. Site Strategics are pioneers in the agile digital marketing space. Our focus is our SEO, technical SEO, core web vital optimization, search engine marketing, social media management, conversion rate optimization, everything around results-based marketing that works. We also have developed a unique omni-channel broadcast methodology where we actually move into all different channels from a curation process with our clients. So we get our clients in the studio on the mic, and we actually go through a number of questions and answers to be able to find out their specialty, their subject matter expertise, and then we repurpose it into so many different areas of digital consumer broadcast. We do that on a regular basis, so give us a shout. Let us know from you. If you want to give us a shout over at 877-SEO for web or 877-736-4932. Be happy to sit down and talk to you about digital strategies, what's working for you, and what we see in the horizon that you could possibly leverage to have some digital marketing successes right out of the gate. So give us a shout today, and we'll give you some digital marketing nuggets of gold. All right. Now, along with this, we are continuing our fast track. We're coming up with these names here, but I'm going to keep the fast track going for Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Roundtable because he's coming through with so much content. Just wanted to catch up with him on a couple things here. So it's kind of a quick pace commentary, not deep diving, but first article out of the gate here over at Search Engine Roundtable. Google Ads, AdSense, Analytics, and other platforms are suffering from report outages. It says, Barry, were you aware of this outage, Crystal? And do we know if this has actually been rectified?
So I was not aware of the outage until I read this article. However, having done PPC for clients before, there's nothing worse than flying blind. And there's also nothing worse than like if something breaks while you're spending money.
Absolutely.
So if you're spending money and you need to, and you're spending money sending traffic to a page and the page breaks, that's awful. If you're spending money and if you're spending money and you can't see what's going on with your ads, then that's a really big, there are a lot of companies who are sort of small businesses for whom what most people think of as a small budget is actually a big undertaking because you need to make the ROI, and you can't make the ROI if you can't see where you're spending, where they're serving it. And I think also this is a particularly tricky thing. We've been talking about AI a little bit, but so much of Google's ads at the moment are AI powered. So without that information, it's very difficult to know whether or not they're serving it to the right place, where it's being seen, what keywords they're actually surfacing you for.
Sure.
And so, I can see why people were stressed out about this.
It was actually across multiple platforms. And there's a Google Ads status dashboard that you can actually see in AdMob, AdSense, were down. Display, video 360, Google Ads. Well, there was some alerts there. And as of this morning, the 20th, at 6:20 a.m., Google Ads liaison Ginny Marvin said that the ad products and the Google Analytics issues were resolved. So pay attention to that. And that's what Barry's really, really good at, is keeping a pulse on everything. Second article real quick from Barry. Google search tests rich card layouts with net worth, news, videos, and more. Crystal, you had a particular point that you wanted to cover regarding that article. So we're seeing some new elements in the SERP. Tell me where we saw this originally.
So this is really similar to what you see really, really frequently on Bing, actually, which I think is interesting. Google has been talking about Google Mom. Bing has been talking about it a lot. They have their full algorithm. Like, you can see the full breakdown of how they do multimodal search, for instance, on their site. And they've been adding a lot of the kinds of elements that Google are now looking like for instance, those sort of boxes, those breakout boxes. Bing is already doing that for a few of the SERPs that we're talking about here. And I think that about a year ago, before Google started doing similar things, I remember looking at Bing and thinking, oh, this looks really busy. But now it looks like we're starting to see similar things coming over to Google as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. I'll also be interested to see if they follow a similar approach to what Bing does for their knowledge panels. For things like some of these rich cards, they will tend to add the attribute for where it came from. Like at the bottom, it's not super, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but they tend to make sure that that's there. So I'd be interested to see if, when they're doing that sort of thing, how they handle attributing the content. I think for this particular example, that the example that Barry showed of Oprah, for instance, a lot of them are coming from particular articles.
Right.
So that's one way to handle it. But I'd be interested to see how it develops going forward.
Yeah. Very interesting designs inside of Brand SERP. And it really looks more and more like a custom profile web page, with all these different pieces. And that's exactly where Google wants you to interact, not clicking through to another link, but actually boiling up all that information right there. Last article that I want to cover here from Barry over at Search Engine Roundtable is Google Ads for politics must be always visible, sufficient size, and similar tone. Obviously, we're going to be coming into political season, or we're already there. And with November's election coming through, Google is actually updating its ads political content policy for next month in August of 2022 to say that ad disclosure must be visible at all times and be of sufficient size. And for audio ads, they must be substantially similar in pitch, tone, and speed. That's interesting. Google actually posted the update over on their policy page. In August 2022, the Google Ads political content policy will be updated to clarify the disclosure requirements for election advertising using ad formats and features available across Google, where the advertiser is responsible for including a paid-for-by disclosure. So they point out the two different elements there that are going to be modified here. They also added that in August, Google did U.S. elections. Ads serving in the U.S. will be eligible to run as audio ads on YouTube. Advertisers wishing to run U.S. election ads must be verified by Google. I wouldn't expect anything else, obviously. To run U.S. election ads in the U.S., an advertiser must complete U.S. election ads verification. So a bit of a form inside of Twitter, but expect it that every cycle of elections, you're going to see more and more clarification, verification, and we need that. We need that level of transparency in the ad space. All right, so Crystal, I know you're in the UK, but any thoughts about Google's environment of ads for the political season coming up?
Yeah, so there's two things here. Google already regulates a lot of the ads that you can serve. Like for instance, the CBD is a really growing market. You're not allowed to advertise there. I've worked with certain medical commercial medicine, fully legitimate companies, but you weren't able to do advertisements there. There's some topics where you aren't able to do advertising on YouTube at all. So particularly for medical things like COVID, for instance, you weren't allowed to advertise around that. You're not allowed to advertise around things around HIV, for instance. So it makes sense that they would bring a similar level of control to something that can get a little bit complicated. It's also something that Facebook have been doing for ages. So Facebook, within their Facebook ad library, for instance, they have a special category for politics,
right.
For elections, things. And so it's interesting to see how that will play out. I think they might have a tricky time tricky time wrangling this because knowing the route that Facebook has gone, I know that people have gotten very creative around some of these things. So hopefully this will bring some more clarity to the conversations and will allow us to get some good data on it, at least, if nothing else.
Nobody's ever happy whenever election season comes through. There's always somebody that gets pissed off. So just hold on to your hats, everybody. I don't relish the realm of political advertisers. That is a space that I'd much rather advertise septic systems. That's actually a cleaner job.
Is there a difference? No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
All right. So check out all those articles, and we certainly do a hat tip to Barry every week because my gosh, he's churning up all the time. You know what's also happening all the time? SEO Chat. Hashtag SEO Chat on Twitter, 1 p.m. Eastern every week, as much as possible. This week's topic.
But what day?
What did I say? Not what day?
You said 1 p.m.
Thursday.
Eastern.
Check Twitter
Thursday.
out. No. Just go to Twitter, 1 p.m. every day.
Every day.
Just type it SEO Chat.
Exactly. I'm committing Morty to actually do SEO Chat every day at 1 p.m. Do you think he'll like that?
He'll be thrilled.
On Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday. Not every day, every Thursday. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. It's a terrible promo. Eric Carlson is actually going to be hosting it this week. So I don't know what the subject is. Do you?
I do. It's in your slide deck. Sorry.
It's mine?
I don't remember because I made it yesterday.
Oh, this week's topic is importance of links
Yes.
in 2022. I just have to read the bloody deck. Okay.
I apologize for forgetting.
Sorry,
was
Morty.
there.
We've done complete damage to SEO Chat promotion this week.
See how many show up.
Yeah, exactly. Thursdays, guys. Thursdays. All right, Crystal, any last words for our Edge audience? Hopefully you'll come back another time. But hey, did you know I tipped my psychic an extra $20 the other day?
You did?
Yeah, she's a very happy medium.
I knew it was coming, but then I still felt I just walked straight in. I was like, he set me up.
Yeah,
I know he is.
I'm sorry.
But maybe he's not. Oh yeah, he is.
Any thoughts for this Digital Marketing Week?
Just, keep your cool in as many ways as possible because it's hot out there.
Yeah, it is hot out there. Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us, Crystal. You're always welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much.
More than welcome. All right, that's it for Edge this week. Make sure that you check out the Barry Adams episode as we're trying to get it in before the end of the week. But it's going to be fantastic. We're recording it tomorrow, so channel that in because we're talking about news SEO. He is the purveyor of that information, and we're going to be unpacking a lot of optimization towards large-scale news organizations. So check that out. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we move the videos out each and every show. And hey, if you feel up to it, if you feel like just doing us a favor, go over to ratethispodcast.com/edge today and give us a rating on iTunes or the respective platforms where you can review, because that actually helps in their algorithm. We certainly appreciate our listeners jumping in there. All right, from all of us over at Edge, that's it for this show. Stay safe, be well, and do not be a piece of cyber drift. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.